Folks, the 6th Congressional District, we'll talk about this at 9 o'clock. The Carla's Corner's coming up at 8:30. Carla will be in here. And the 6th Congressional District. Let's go through some polling before I make my prediction. I got a message yesterday, and I walked the fence line on the prediction, and I got a response back. Wow, that was very political. Yes, it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a close one. But let's look at a couple of the predictions here, the polling. Let's go with MSNBC landmark poll, Sam. The MSNBC landmark poll. Okay. Now, the MSNBC landmark poll here in the Georgia 6th District has John Ossoff at 49 and Karen Handel at 48.9%. So we're going to look at some of these here. Okay, that's the latest polling, all right? Just 0.1% of difference there. And neck and neck right there, 1% undecided. So that's the Georgia 6th. That's the landmark WSB Channel 2. Let's go with the MSNBC Real Clear Politics, Sam. Oh, you got it there? Okay. Georgia 6th District Special Election, Real Clear Politics average there. Karen Handel at 49 on this one. John Ossoff 48.8, 0.2%. Okay. Let's go with MSNBC special election numbers. We're going to look at some numbers before we get to talk about it. Now, here is the numbers that may be concerning that they're trying to push. All right, you see the two polls, 49, 48.8. 49, 48.8, the other way or some way, okay? They are right there, 49, 49, okay, going in today's election. Georgia 6th. Now, Kansas, okay, Trump won by 27. Is that what it says? I better pull that up. I get it here.
Yes, it does say 27.
Okay. Trump won by 27 in Kansas. Here's the numbers they're trying to do comparables on. All right. But in the Kansas 4th Congressional District race, the GOP only won by 7 points. This is what they're trying to get you to look down this line. So the 2017 special election in the GOP districts, the Trump margins versus the congressional results. Kansas 4, Trump won 27% in the state, but in the 4th district, GOP only won by a +7, okay? Montana, okay, the whole state, Montana only has 1. And that's where the guy ran a kick-ass campaign. I forget his name. I can't pronounce it anyway, probably. But he ran a kick-ass campaign there in Montana. It's a body slam, the reporter. That's a joke. They only have 1 representative. Trump won the state of Montana by 21 points, but the GOP only won by 6, up 6 in Montana. Now you have the South Carolina 5th District. South Carolina 5th District is today. That election's today. And that is to replace Mick Mulvaney, the Director of Economic Budget or whatever he's got. Mick Mulvaney was with the Freedom Caucus. He was the congressman from the South Carolina 5th District, and he got tapped to be in the cabinet and or be the budget director there for President Trump. Trump won South Carolina by 18 points. That one's blank because we're wanting to see what is the Trump factor, okay? What is Trump doing to the congressional races? Now we get to the Georgia 6th, and this is where I guess I should say Democrats are licking their chops. Okay, I got to say it like that. They're licking their chops, boy. I mean, if you're around the 6th district today and you look up, those are the buzzards, okay? Because they're waiting for the kill. I mean, this is the big one for Democrats. Almost $50 million poured into this race. Majority of it for Ossoff. Karen Handel has got, what, 20% of the Ossoff's money. Ossoff's money has come from all over the United States, California, Nancy Pelosi's friends. This is Nancy Pelosi's handpicked little boy, okay? If this guy was to win, I don't want to get sidetracked, but if this guy was to win, you could go to Nancy Pelosi's office and he would be sitting in the corner wanting to know if she wants coffee or tea. I'm serious. So, but this is the one because it's blank there and Trump won the district, okay? Won the district by only 1 point. So this is the one where they're saying this could be it. This is the big one. Georgia. Sam, before we go any further, show me, this is the cast of characters we started with in April. Show me the picture that just says the 6th district candidates.
Okay, no, it's here. Hold on.
I hear you. That's what we started with, folks. That's what we started with. 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18? Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Now that is the Brady bunch we started with in the 6th Congressional District back in April. Ossoff, it's like, doesn't that look like to you a little bit like the high school yearbook? That's a little bit like the high school yearbook, okay? So Ossoff is the second kid down. He's the child on the second row there to my right, maybe your left, second one in there, little boy. And he won the Democrat, and Karen is 2 over. That's what we started with, okay? So, real clear politics and special election. Now, let's look at early voting, because we're trying to put these numbers together. We went from 11 Republicans and 6 Democrats. That's 17. What's that, 18? Somehow my math is off by 1. But what the heck? Anyhow, so I'll try to put all these numbers together. And early voting, let's look at the early voting before we get into my prediction of the day. In 2016, in November, for the general election in this district, 195,852 ballots in early voting, 129,733 on election day. In April 18, that's the special election. That's where the whole cast of characters. You seen just a minute ago the high school yearbook page, okay, for all the candidates in the 6th district. In April 18th, in that primary, 56,825 early votes were cast, and 135,302, okay, 302 on election day. Now that brings us to June 20th in my far right. You at home might be your far left. I don't know.
They see it the same way you do.
Do they see it the same as me?
Yeah.
I just wanted Sam to say that they see it the same as me.
Yeah.
I tricked you into that one. In the far right, okay, 140,510 right there, June 20th. In this election, right here today, 140,510 early votes have been cast. For a congressional race, that's just, I know it sounds like a lot, but that's just, what, 50,000 less than the general election. This is big. That number is big, okay? Now, I said And I heard a lot of reporting, and I said on this show, Karen Handel would have to get her base to go vote in the early. They would have to get their absentee ballots, their early voting. That had to be big, because people are going to be on vacation. They had to get this number had to be extremely large. Republicans will come home today in the 6th. Karen Handel will win by 1,000 votes. I cannot. Do I think it's so close that by 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock tonight, John Ossoff wins? Yeah, it's that close. I have to tell you, I cannot look in this camera and bring myself to predict a Nancy Pelosi candidate, John Ossoff, as the winner. My hope is, as moderate as the 6th district may be in Georgia, as educated as they may be in the 6th district, all the above, okay? My hope is they are smart enough not to send Nancy Pelosi's protege to Washington, D.C. It's not that they're not to send a Democrat, but just to send this guy right here, Nancy Pelosi, and let $40 million come in and buy their election. I think they're smarter than that. So I think Karen Handel wins by 1,000 votes tonight. I think it's close. I think it's that close. Those are the numbers. Let's go to the polling just one more time. They've got a Fox 5 poll. Put that one. I didn't get that. Let's run through the polling one more time. The Fox 5 polling says John Ossoff 49.7, Karen Handel 49.4. Okay? One more time. MSNBC landmark poll. This is from MSNBC this morning. Georgia 6th District Special Election, WSB Channel 2 poll with landmark sampling there. 49 to 48.9. And let's go one more time to special election number, not special election numbers. We'll do that one last. Let's recap here. MSN, Real Clear Politics. I'm sorry, Sam. I will do that one last. Georgia 6th District Special Election. This is the Real Clear Politics average. 49 Karen, 48.8. But we showed you what I feel is the strongest number is the early voting, which tends to side with Republicans, okay? And let's go to MSNBC special election numbers. That's what they put up this morning, and we'll close with that. They want you, here is the hope that they have that they're licking their chops. Kansas 4, Trump won Kansas 4 by 27, but in the special election, the GOP only won it by 7. Montana, Trump won the state by 21. The GOP only won it by 6. So they're looking at Mick Mulvaney's seat up in South Carolina 5 today, which Trump won by 18. And to see what the narrow number margin, the squeezing the gap of the GOP, but the Georgia 6th, Trump won by 1 point. 1 point, Georgia 6th, okay? And that's the one. They're licking their chops, and they got the buzzards flying over. Before we go to break, Carla's Corner is coming up in just a minute, but before we go to break, I got a couple more things I want to run by on the Georgia 6th, and we're going to come back. We're going to recap this thing at 9. Let's show everybody Trump's tweet for Karen Handel. There's 3 of them. There's Trump's tweet for Karen Handel, and then there's number 2 and 3. Let's do them in order, and I'll tell you when to switch over. Got it.
Trump. 2 and 3. Hold on.
Yeah, I didn't put a 1 on the. Okay. It just says, and then there's 2 and 3. Trump yesterday, Donald Trump, the President of the United States, Karen Handel for Congress. She will fight for lower taxes, great health care, strong security, a hard worker, and will never give up. Vote Karen. I'm going to tell you, I have to say anything. Karen does not quit. Karen does not quit. And another thing, all the Georgia 6th District, I just don't think they care that Karen has a Lexus. I don't think that commercial hit home. All right, let's go to number 2 that he has up there. A big day tomorrow. He sent this out yesterday, President Donald Trump. A big day tomorrow in Georgia and South Carolina. Obamacare is dead. Dems want to raise taxes big. They can only obstruct. No ideas. Vote R, Republican. That was yesterday. And then I have one more that the President of the United States tweeted out. And people want him to stop tweeting. I love the guy sending out his tweets. Democrat John Ossoff, who wants to raise your taxes to the highest level and is weak on crime and security, doesn't even live in the district. He doesn't even live here. So that probably, I think if people go and vote for somebody to represent them, I think the 6th District is going to go into the ballot box today and say, I just can't bring myself to vote for a guy that can't tell me he's going to move back. You remember when John Ossoff was asked why he did not live in the district. I think his girlfriend's name Amy. We'll use it. We'll say Amy just for the conversation, okay? But he said, you know, I'm going to help support my girlfriend Amy as long as she's in medical training. Well, when are you going to move back? Okay? This is the question that was asked him by an MSNBC reporter that he was on. He would only go on, we're going to talk about that in a second. He would only go on safe zones. Untouchable. This guy was not available. Folks, if you feel for 1 minute this guy gets elected and he will be available to you, you are so wrong. He was not available to reporters or anybody during this campaign. He was so guarded to protect from you from finding out, not to protect him, to protect from you finding out who he really is. So MSNBC reporter says, well, okay, you don't live in the district. Well, some have taken issue with me not living in the district, but I am supporting my fiance, Amy, as she's completing her medical training. Okay, Mr. Ossoff, if elected and you decide to move to this, if elected to represent the 6th District, when will you actually move into the district that you're representing? I will 5 minutes after, I think this is not quote, but this is really close. John Ossoff, I will 5 minutes after Amy finishes her medical training. Well, just say it. I see some of them go to medical training. They stay 12 years. I'm just saying. I mean, how old are you now? 42? What are you doing? I'm in school. What? I'm in medical training. Just saying. Just saying. Anyhow, so let me say this before I go to commercial. The 6th District, okay. Remember yesterday I brought you a story about the Washington Free Beacon, and I told you it paralleled. It exactly paralleled what happened to me. I went to a John Ossoff event, and there was no talking to him. I was this close to the guy. And I said, Mr. Ossoff, can I speak to you for a minute? Can I ask you a question? I wasn't worried about a body slam. I mean, if you ever You ever see the little chicken bone guy? You know, that wasn't a concern of mine. It's like the guy in Montana. He was big enough to body slam you. But Ossoff, I really wasn't concerned that he was going to go in for the body slam on me. But I got close enough and I said, you know, Mr. Ossoff, can I ask you just a couple questions real quick? You know, all the other candidates, all the Democrats were there. It was the Democrat Forum. I spoke to Dr. Quigg, all of them, okay? They all were open. Reagan, I forget Reagan's last name. Every one of them talked to us. We did an interview. We put it up on our website. Mr. Ossoff, nope. Talk to my, this is my communications secretary. This is my communications, head of communications. Just tell them whatever you need. We'll get you anything you need. So I told you the story about the Washington Free Beacon reporter from the website Washington Free Beacon that, you know, tried everything to talk to the guy and got boxed out. So last night, this is a June 19th, Free Beacon barred from covering Jon Ossoff campaign event. Reporter was escorted out of the event by Ossoff campaign shortly after entry. This is Brent Shearer. He is the same guy that went to the campaign office that they got upset that he took a picture of the script. The Washington Free Beacon was told by Georgia Democrat Jon Ossoff's campaign that it was not welcome to cover remarks that he was scheduled to deliver supporters on the night before Tuesday's election. The Free Beacon was approached immediately upon entering Ossoff's Monday night event last night by Ossoff's spokeswoman, Shayla Hayworth. She's approached me. She approached me real quick, who proceeded to escort the reporter out of the event. Asked why the Free Beacon was being restricted from covering the event, Hayworth said, "Thank you very much for your interest in covering our race." Asked why the Free Beacon wasn't being allowed to cover the race despite its interest, Hayworth said, "Thank you very much for your interest in covering our race." I'm telling you, they were trained so well. And I'm going to cut this off right now. One, okay, I predict Karen Handel wins. Now, Ossoff will probably clean her clock in DeKalb County. So he will do very well in DeKalb County, very well. He has to have a strong showing in Cobb. And what is it, Fulton County? And he has to get some of Karen's votes up there in North Fulton, right there in Karen's backyard. I think Karen Handel, this is my final prediction, Karen Handel wins tonight by 1,000 votes. Somewhere, give or take a couple votes. That's what I think. 1,000 votes could be enough to separate it. That's number one, I think she wins. Number two, if Jon Ossoff wins, okay, the model the Democrats created, can't leave with that. Let's go with if he wins. The model the Democrats created, not allowing reporters to speak to their candidate, not allowing them to attend their events. Reporters were RSVP. I tried. I looked at many of his events, and it says reporters RSVP. Okay? Control, control, control. Never get away from it. Train your volunteers not to speak to the media. And absolutely shut everything negative down and only run a lie of a campaign over and over and over. He has lied. There are people who have lied in this campaign, advertising the worst lies, but over and over and over. And I'm telling you, the other thing is Jon Ossoff wins tonight. The media, you get angry with me. The media, if it's 10 o'clock at 10:01, before 10 o'clock, even before it's over, you will start hearing, will Georgia go purple? At 10 o'clock, you will have the whack jobs from Fox and everywhere. At 10 o'clock, if Jon Ossoff wins, you will have them all discussing, what's this mean for Georgia? Is Georgia a purple state? Is this a rejection of Donald Trump that will be heard from coast to coast. You already hear every day for the last 3 or 4 days. You already hear, well, there's 24 metro districts that resemble the 6th district that the Democrats can focus in and zero in on and win the House back. Ossoff wins, paralyzes. This little skinny boy, little skinny child wins, okay? If this little guy wins, the man boy, he looks like that kid in the Jungle Book. Anyhow, this kid wins. What was his name? Mobley? Yes. Mobley. If Mobley wins, we freeze right in place. Now, the last comment I make on this race today. Did you get my prediction? You got my prediction, right? I said that 6 times. I got to go with Karen. Karen by 1,000, okay? The return is not good. I mean, you know, I should have put that out in Vegas. Watch the discussion tonight if Karen Handel wins by 1,000 votes on possible hacking, possible manipulation of this race. Watch, because this will also, if you're out there reading articles that I have brought up to you, I think there's 36 or 39 states, right? Let's go back just a little bit. We don't have time. For Brian Kemp, go do your research today. Secretary of State of Georgia, let's go back, not even 2 months ago, 3 months ago, during the general election, Brian Kemp and the issue on possibly hacking Georgia's voting machines. So Karen Handel wins by 1,000 votes. Put this on the list of them starting to discuss how safe were the voting machines. Now, one more thing. Now, I know one more thing is equal 7, but I don't want to hear it. One more thing, okay? Remember, don't forget. Why were you sitting there? Damn it, every once in a while, I just have to clear this up. You were sitting there in April. And you couldn't figure out why North Fulton didn't come in, right? Why they didn't come in. You remember there was a problem with the voting machines. Go back, just Google today while you got nothing to do. Google 6th District Special Election, okay? 6th District Special Election in the primary, not the primary, but the April. Google what happened. The Democrats cried foul because John wanted to win by the 50+1 and not go into this. Democrats cried foul, right? There was a problem that the Secretary of State, Brian Kemp, that's now running for governor, there was a problem with the election voting machines that we seen DeKalb. Remember, we were sitting there, we seen DeKalb and Cobb, and we were wondering, where's Fulton? Where's Fulton? Problem with the voting machines. Watch tonight. Watch tonight. I'm your host, BKP. I've run a little long, but the 6th District Congressional seat is a very important election today, and I wanted to cover it in as much detail. Sam, you did get my prediction, right?
Yes, 27 times.
27? All right, just wanted to make sure it was 27, because I was concerned about 26 times you weren't paying attention. So I knew you were that last one. We'll be back right after these messages. It's time for Carla's Corner. I can't wait to see Carla. I didn't get to see her last week, and I really missed her, and I know you did too. So we'll be back after these messages.